Why is it so hard to be attractive as a man? And what is the advantage that women have that you should definitely not envy? I'm Martin. I've been a dating and relationship coach for 17 years. And today we're going to talk about how men have active value and women primarily have passive value. Now, I call it passive value because for women, they have more value than men simply because they have vaginas, which men enjoy, and more importantly, they are able to give birth. See, because having people, new people, children, is important to all societies. All societies think that that's an important thing. And the number of children that you can have in any generation is based on the number of women you have. You wipe out 50% of men, 20% of men, no problem. You can have the same number of children in the next generation, even if you wipe out 50 or 20% or maybe even more of the male population. Now, on the other side of it, you wipe out 50% of the women, the maximum number of children that your society can have, it's cut by 50%. And so this is why historically we have this tendency of thinking of protecting women, and why it is that men are the ones who are supposed to do the dangerous jobs, men are the ones who are supposed to risk death in war and all of these things. This is a societal preservation instinct that is grown into every society all over the world, because if you didn't develop this, then you didn't survive. And so this is the crux of women's passive value. And so just by being born female with a vagina, you automatically have value to society. Now, this seems like it works out in so many great ways for women, right? That's why many guys on the internet, but also in real life, get really unhappy and upset with the kind of treatment that women get. And I can understand that. It doesn't feel great to see other people getting treatment that you would like without doing anything, while you struggle to get the same level of treatment. But I would tell you that you really shouldn't envy women, because while this is true, it only works in the short term. In the long term, men have a big advantage by learning early on that instead of passive value, we have to generate and cultivate active value. Now, what is active value? Active value means that it's not intrinsic to you being born a male. It's not intrinsic to you growing up. Active value means that you have to cultivate it and develop it. You have to cultivate and develop yourself. You have to develop your personality. You have to develop skills. Because without those things, you are not valuable to society. Now, yes, of course, we have the idea that everyone is created equal and blah, blah, blah. And, that's true from a political standpoint. You can vote whether you're valuable to society or not. You can still vote, right? Yes, you have that kind of power. Sure. You have the right to being treated in a certain way or not being mistreated in certain ways. Sure. But when it comes to the dating market, and more importantly, to the societal market, let's say, and when I say the societal market, I mean the value that you can bring to the people that you actually interact with, who you need to interact with in life. We need things from other people. We can't get through life without other people. We need someone to provide the groceries in the store. We need people to provide our internet access. And yes, you can say, well, yeah, we pay for that stuff. Yes, we pay for that stuff. And you pay for that stuff from working. And so that is an example of the value that you need. As a guy, do women need to work? No, of course they don't have to. They choose to work. They choose to work so that they can have more independence. But they could choose to be dependent and not work. And throughout history and even today, many women choose to do that. As a guy, can you choose not to work and just move in with someone and have them take care of you? Very unlikely. Yes, of course, there are some men who manage to do that, but it's very unlikely. And those men who do manage to do it, they don't manage to do it just because they are just some guy. Normally, they manage to do that because they have some other thing that people really value greatly. And so you see that you as a man are required by society to work on something, to become something. And what's really great about this is that it has compounding effects. Every time you learn something, you achieve something, you learn that skill of learning and achieving. And that means that you can then take what you learn and apply it to something else and to apply it to another area. So while in the short term, it's challenging and very difficult, for most guys, I would say that they have a really tough time dating before they're about 26 or so because they don't have much to offer. But after they have developed some kind of career, knowledge, expertise in some area, that knowledge, expertise, those connections that they build through the development of that knowledge and expertise compounds over time. Now, of course, I'm not saying there's never any setbacks. There are setbacks, for sure. For sure there are setbacks. But you still have that base skill of providing value, being able to provide value, of having value that you can bring to your interactions and to your relationships with other people. And that can be about your personality, having a pleasant personality, having a helpful personality, sometimes can be enough. Having a demeanor that other people value, having an outlook that other people value, these things don't cost money, but they are valued. Wisdom from experience, even or especially from bad experience, is valued. And because we aren't given much for free, we are forced to extract as much as we can from our experiences. And this is why I would say that you shouldn't envy women. In a lot of ways, their life is a lot like the kid who grows up really spoiled and they never learn to do anything and they don't learn how to interact with other people because they always have this sort of automatic power over everyone else because their parents protect them. And then when they're finally on their own because, their parents die or their dad's business goes under or whatever, they don't have the skills to get through life. And a lot of women find themselves in this kind of situation because they have grown up and they have the constant experience of being appreciated and given things for doing nothing, right? I mean, women walk into a bar and people offer to buy them drinks and they turn this down. Whereas, when was the last time you walked into a bar and you got offered a drink for doing nothing? And so you understand that you always have to be doing something and bringing something and having something. And that serves you well throughout life. And oftentimes women get blindsided by this stuff later in life. And it's very difficult for them to make that transition. It's hard because they've never had to do it before. And now they're suddenly faced with that. And for me, you might envy that spoiled child when everything is being taken care of, but you wouldn't envy him later on. It's one of these things where you would never want to be weak. You might be weak, but that wouldn't be something that you strive for and that you value. And that is why I think you should never envy women's situation. And you should be really happy that you're a man and that you have plenty of time to develop the things that you need that will make you valuable to society and therefore increasingly attractive to women.